I'm your host, Caroline Susko, and I am so excited that you're here with me today. For those of you who are new here, joining me for the first time, welcome to On the Bright Side. It's a safe place full of mental health conversations, navigating 20s tips, and doses of positivities and POVs. Honestly, it's the unofficial girl's guide to life, if you will. So I'm so glad you're with me, and I'm so excited to be talking about today's episode. You guys, if you could see me right now, I am all curled up in a row. It is 7 a.m. right now, and I look like a crazy person. Like, you would not believe the person behind the mic right now, but so luckily this is audio only and not video. Anyway, so for this episode, I was debating what to do once again, and I was going back and forth. My birthday is July 20th, so next Saturday. Yippee! I'm so excited. My friends are coming up. It's going to be so much fun. But anyways, my birthday's next weekend, and I was like, okay, do I want to do an episode about life lessons in 22? And I was going back and forth. Now, don't completely get rid of the 22 episode because there may be one coming. It just might be after. But I wanted to pivot and go in a different direction because of life a little bit recently. And okay, let's just give a minor basic rundown. Minor basic rundown is I got home and I wasn't fully myself. I've been very upset, sad, just going through the motions. And I was like, what is going on? Why am I like this? And I get it. Coming back from school, you have a whole routine there. And now I'm back here and I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm not going to school every day. It's a different life and you're surrounded by different people. And so anyways, I was like, okay, this is the situation I'm in right now. How can I be my happy self again? How can I live more in a day and not just be like, okay, this next, check, and actually have fun doing these things? And, most people would try to get out of the rut really quick, but no, I got in the car and listened to sad music. Guys, number one rule of advice: when you're sad, don't make it worse with sad music. Turn that energy around. If you can't tell if you're happy or sad today, turn on the positive happy, scream out loud at the top of your lungs music. Do not start playing music like I did that I was literally sad over, acting like. Okay, another thing, sorry, I'm already off track, but one thing about me is anything with Taylor Swift related, I haven't gone through a breakup. I haven't gone through nothing nearly as close to what Taylor Swift has gone to in her music. And here I am oh my gosh, I completely relate. Relatability is my love language if you don't know me. And I'm yep, Taylor, I feel exactly what you're feeling. And I'm no, Caroline, you do not feel exactly what she's feeling. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. So I've been trying to get my color back, and I've been trying to get super excited about everything I do every day and be super extra grateful about it. And I am grateful, but just do so in a way that I'm actively grateful. And so I was on TikTok scrolling and I saw this book and the quotes were amazing. And I was okay, this is awesome. What is this? And the book was called That's Bold of You. So you know me, I went right to Amazon, ordered the book, and I've been reading it. I'm not done yet, but it is such a good book. And literally the page one, it was talking about how, this is actually funny because what was it about? I mean, I'll be reading this book and I am highlighting pen. I'm yes, this. And someone's what's it about? And I'm it's just a self-help book. And guys, it's early for me. Just bear with me. It's a really good book about balancing your life and getting what you deserve and not taking shit from people and being your happy, most authentic self. And I was reading about it and I was this is awesome. This is such a good book and more people should know about this. More people should read this book, even though I literally can't give you guys a description of what the book was about. Anywho, I digress. It's 7 a.m. So today I want to talk about how to get your color back and not living in the gray area. When I think of how to get your color back, I think of that song and it's I think it's by Hozier, I don't know his name. But it's she's got some color, da, 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 da. I can't sing right now because I forget the lyrics. Another thing about me is I butcher the lyrics and they're always wrong. But something like that. And getting your color back is basically being that full happy version of yourself, that you're living in color, you're living happy, you're living within each moment, and you're seeing each moment as a gift, and you're happy to be doing so, and you're actively living. Whereas a lot of people live in the gray. They're going through the motions of just every day and trying to get stuff done and checking off the box. You know, they have the mindset of, it is what it is, whatever, if this is going to happen, like, let it happen. I'm not going to try harder, you know, if this relationship is going to blow over, it is what it is. That kind of mindset. And in this mindset, get almost too comfortable with the life we're living at the moment, because it almost feels like the same day over and over. And we're too comfortable. We wake up, we know exactly what we're eating for breakfast, we know exactly who we're talking to, we know exactly what we're doing down to the T, where we're going, and all of that. And that works for some people. But for a lot of people, it brings on that gray area, because you're like, okay, what is my switch up in life? Where's the point where I'm going to change something, where something's going to go different, where I'm going to experience something new? If I'm living the exact same day in like a different sequence every day. And there's two kinds of people. If you're living in the gray and experience the same thing every day, it's basically just saying like, oh, every day's the same, and just accepting it. You have the power to change it. You have the power to do different things, but instead you're living the exact same way every day and are living in the gray, aren't very happy with what you're doing. And no wonder you're not happy, because you don't have that mindset. And there's some people who live a very similar day and are so happy and are so lucky because they are so grateful, and they let gratefulness come before happiness, and they didn't let their happiness be dictated by certain events. They were grateful for what was in front of them from the start. So living in the gray is like a poor me, why me, every day's the same mindset. And it's tiring, it's boring, and you're literally like, if you imagine your life, it's in gray. It's like a pencil drawing of just like your life over and over and over. When don't you want to live in color? If you have this one life and you have so many opportunities to say yes and to do things different, why are you living in the gray? Why are you just letting life happen to you? We should be determining how our life happens, and we have the power to do that. So today I want to talk about how to get your color back and steps to getting there. Because a few weeks ago, I was in a rut and I was like, I want my color back. I want my motivation back. Instead of letting my color go and accepting the gray and feeling bad for myself and have this victim mentality mindset. Getting your color back means that you're missing a part of yourself that you were or that you had, and you want it back. You've lived like this before. You've lived in that color, and you want to know how to get that color back again. Well, to start us off here today, if you want your color back, if you want something in your life, and you're like, oh, I miss feeling like that. I miss being so happy, feeling like a community. Here's what you need to do. Write down everything. Think of your happiest time. Think of your absolute happiest time. And what were the subjects behind that? Mel Robbins was talking about this, and it's basically saying, what were you doing there and at what time? And I can think back to when I was my happiest self, and it was when I was on a trip in Florida with like 6 of my friends. And I look at it because I was like, that was my happiest self. And I look at how my life was going right then. And I can see that I was very active in my friendships and very secure in them. I also know that when I went to Florida, I had horrible anxiety, and going on this trip made me conquer some of my travel anxiety. I was taking steps in the right direction. I was doing things I didn't want to do. I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable, and it wasn't the same thing every day. And what I was doing there is I was creating content and doing social media, my favorite thing to do. I love talking. I love helping people. And I was like, I look at that event and I'm like, okay, I was getting up at 8 a.m. every day and going on a hot girl walk. Now, I might not be in Florida right now, but I can recreate this. I can tap back into my content that made me the happiest. I can hang out with those people who made that week amazing. I can get up at 8 a.m. and do what's best for me. And I can challenge myself to get over my anxiety in little ways and not do the things that I normally would always do in a day. We want to get out of our comfort zone, and getting out of that comfort zone is part of getting your color back. So think about that time. What were you doing? Were you setting time aside for your hobbies? Who are you surrounded by? And recreate that. We have the opportunities to recreate that in certain ways. And even if our friends aren't close by, hey, we can give them a call. We can FaceTime them. We can still get up at 8 a.m. and do a little different workout, even if it's not in Florida. We can start recreating that kind of energy and those kind of moments, because that's what made us happy. And whatever that is, that's going to help us get our color back, because luckily we know that feeling. We know what it's like to be happy, and we just need to look at the facts around us and look at what we were doing and recreate that, and stop being like, oh, poor me, I'm sad. Oh, poor me. And don't get me wrong. There's times where please say poor me, because there's circumstances out there that are unimaginable. But when they're more so little problems and we're like, oh, poor me, why this? No, instead of saying poor me, say yes, me. I'm so lucky I get to do this. I'm so lucky I have these opportunities. And right now, it might be a little hard, but it's showing me what I deserve. And it's giving you something to compare that to. If you didn't go through life and everything was easy and everything was butterflies and rainbows and everything was just perfect and happy and just amazing and everyone was nice around you, you wouldn't be able to understand what you deserve, because this would all be the same line. You wouldn't know any different. You wouldn't know less, so you wouldn't know more. Do you get what I'm saying? We're lucky to be experiencing some of these opportunities that we go through, even though they're extremely hard in the moment and they're hard to deal with after. And, sometimes we miss them and all we want to do is go back because we're like, oh, these memories, this was so amazing. But we have a urge in us that we know there's something better out there and that we deserve more. And having experiences and opportunities like this help us realize our worth and what we want our life to look like, and not what it should be looking like because we don't stand up for ourselves, because we just accept what's around us. So, how to get your color back, step 1. Saying yes to the opposite. This was in the book I was reading, and this was super beneficial to read. Basically, you want to say yes to the opposite. If you don't have your color yet and you truly believe that you haven't lived in color all your life, here's what we're going to do. You have the opportunity to make decisions. You make thousands and thousands and thousands of decisions every day. So if I were where I am right now, I'm back at my childhood home living right now, and my day usually looked like wake up, eat toast, go work out, and then just go sit and do work in my bed for like 7 hours. Bring color to that life and do things different. You have the opportunity. Do things different in what you would normally say yes to. Do the exact opposite of what you're doing right now. Because if you're doing the exact opposite, and if your life is gray right now, the exact opposite is color. So by making those choices, by doing things that you normally wouldn't say yes to, we start to learn that color, and we start to say, okay, there's so much out there that I never noticed, that I never realized, because I just woke up, ate, did work, went to bed, over. That doesn't sound like a fun life to live. That just sounds like you're living in the gray over and over and over, doing the same thing, and you're not happy about it. So make that change. Do the exact opposite. Experience that life you haven't experienced. So here's my first challenge to all of us, me included. If we see a cute guy at the bar, we're going to do the exact opposite. So me, I would be like, nope, putting my head down, not saying a word, walking by. Instead, we're going to be like, we're going to go right up to him. We're going to talk to him, because what is the worst thing that could happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? You're just having a conversation. Do things differently. Live a little more in color and have fun doing it. Because I'm so sick of being like, what if? What if this could have happened if I just did this? Well, soon enough, there's not going to be a what if, because I did it. Because I'm going to act on what my mind wants and not just being like, oh, that would have been so cool if that worked out. And actually seeing if it can actually work out. So I'm not living in a gray area. I'm like, oh, what if this happened? What if this happened? I'm not living like that. And we don't want to live like that. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to literally do the opposite of things we would do in a day and see what happens to us and see where our color comes back in that. Number 2, Stop being afraid to be seen. If you are embarrassed, if you are weird, well, time out. We're all weird and we all get embarrassed. We're human beings. Oh my gosh. Like, there's always so many different versions of us where we're like, okay, I would never say that at school, but if I'm home, I'm going to be like my full weird, silly self. If I'm with my group of girls who literally know me like the back of their hand, I'm going to be my weird self. But trust me, if you see me at the bar, I'm not going to be my weird self. I'm going to be calm, cool, and collective, put together, because that's what people like, right? Wrong. When you're embarrassed, when you're being your fully weird, authentic self, that means you're living life fully. It means you are fully living life because you're not letting embarrassment define you. You're not letting failure tell you how you should be acting. You're not letting a fear of what other people think dictate how you act. You're not watering yourself down to fit someone else's picture. You're not watering down you being too much because someone thinks you have too much energy. No, you're being your full, authentic self, and that's what you want to be. Stop being afraid to be seen as your real self, and stop confining to these ideas of what people should be like and how people should act. And oh my gosh, what are they going to think if I did this? You will live such a more happy life if you start doing things for you in the way you like to be seen, in the way you like to be act, and the jokes you like to tell, instead of what people think is quote unquote normal. And what even is normal? Who defined normal? Be seen the way you are. If people aren't going to like you, they aren't going to like you. Basically, when I think about the people that don't like me, here's what I think. I think I know myself more than any person in this world. And I know everything I've been through, every friendship I've seen, every encounter I've had, every event I've done. I know who I am as a person, and a silly one. And if someone doesn't like me, it just means they chose to see one version that matched their viewpoint of me. They chose to pick the day where, I wasn't feeling myself. I felt super sick or something, and I was being not as nice as I normally am. But people who don't want to like us, they'll pick that up and be like, she's an awful person and she's so bitchy. And you're like, okay, you didn't know anything that was going on in my life. And I'm a really good, kind person. So realize that if someone's not going to like you, they're not going to like you. And you can do 100 things. You can try to prove them wrong. You can do these things for people. But no matter what you do, I don't even care if you won the Nobel Peace Prize. They'd be like, well, it was rigged. They can always have something to say to be a part of their narrative. So stop trying to prove your real narrative to people who only want to see that one version. They're choosing to see one version of you. Your color comes back for when you stop caring about how others perceive you. You post what you want to post. You wear the outfit you want to wear. You don't ask for people's opinions. You just do. And you do what's best for the people around you and you. You have a mix of both. Because when you're your real, authentic, funny self, you're never going to be too much for the right people. And the right people will love all this silly energy with you, love your quietness, love your loudness, love how you like to be the center of attention sometimes. Love all those little parts of you because that's what makes you you. And I know I remember times where I was my full authentic self. When I talk about that Florida vacation, I was fully me and having so much fun. And it was because I wasn't scared to be my real self around people. But then there's times where I'm like, I was at this bar and I'm like, who was this girl? She's acting like she's calm, cool, and collective. If you really met me, I have never been calm, cool, and collective in my life. And I just want to jump around, dance, sing, and laugh, and literally be a ball of energy. So if you see me calm, cool, and collective, it's not me. It's not me. And I can remember times at the bar where I would just be calm, cool, and collective when instead I wanted to tell this joke to everyone and make everyone laugh, or I wanted to literally do a cartwheel on the bar floor, stuff like that. And I wasn't not doing a cartwheel, but I literally wanted to fully dance out and break out and dance. And I'd be like, oh yeah, why? Why am I doing that? And who am I protecting? Like, what is going on? So stop being afraid to be seen and do things that you want to do, and the right people will come around and be there for you and love you for you. And when you live life the way you want to live and the way you want to act and the way you want to be seen, it's a lot more fun because you find your people, and you find your people way quicker because they're falling in love with the real you, not this version you made to match their point of view or to fit in. Number 3, giving up is never going to get you there. I want you to think of what makes you happy. What's the thing that you look at and say, if I couldn't fail, this is what I would be doing. If I could be a pop star, that's what I would want to do. If I could be a podcaster and not fail, that's what I would want to do. If I could be a nurse and not fail, that's what I would want to do. Do that. That is what is going to bring your color back. That is going to bring your passion back, because we're going to think about step 2 for a sec. We're not afraid to be seen the way we actually are. And if we're not afraid to be seen the actual way we are, we're not going to be as scared as much to fail. And we're not going to give a crap about what other people think. We're going to be delusional, because it's only delusional until you prove them wrong. Taylor Swift, she is a rich girl. She's a rich pop star. And I bet when she was talking at first saying, oh yeah, I'm going to go into singing and all that, people were like, she's crazy. But if she listened to someone saying, you're crazy, like just go to business school and be done, like what are you doing? Miss Taylor Swift wouldn't be around. If we listen to these people, and if you give up, you're never going to get what you want, because you literally never saw it through. There's going to be 2 things. You're either going to be mad at yourself for quitting, or you're going to be mad that you listened to the people around you. I want you to prove the people wrong and let yourself live free. Let yourself do what you want to do. Why wouldn't you? You have a gift. You have a talent. You have something there. Use it. Use it. Use your voice. Use whatever it is that makes you you, that you want to do. Do that. Because then we look back at our life later and we feel so much regret. And no wonder we're feeling in that gray area. And just say, I stopped podcasting because of a mean comment. And I ended up working a 9-to-5 at a desk. I'm obviously going to be living in the gray, because I'm going to have in the back of my mind, what if that worked out? What if I shouldn't actually be here? And what if I actually gave it that shot? And what if the last time I said, okay, I'm done, that was the time I was supposed to go big and this was supposed to all work out? What if? So you can't live life in what if. You don't want to give up knowing you could have got there. You want to keep going and live with delusion. Delusion is a great thing. Live every moment and every question in your head with like, okay, is it delusional? But is it delusional to the point where it's actually delusional? Is it just delusional to the point where other people are watering me down and don't actually see my potential? Next, 4, be your own person. I don't want you to confine yourself to a room. If you don't fit in with those people in that room, good. It means you're not trying to sacrifice yourself and your values just to match. So many times in my life, I would water myself down. I would sacrifice who I was to just try to fit in. No. You're not made to be someone else. You're made to be you. Now, I remember so many fun times with people from my past, and sometimes I want it back. I'm like, oh, I miss this so much. I miss talking to them. I miss the happiness, the easiness of just living life easy, living life normal. But I remind myself, if the wrong people could make me that happy, imagine how much the right people will make me feel. Imagine how much happiness they'll bring into my life when I can be my true, authentic self and not feel like I need to shut some of myself away. Don't throw that gift away. It is a gift, and it would be stupid to throw that out. You are you for a reason, and let yourself be you. Because by being you, you'll live in color. You'll feel like you have your life back, because you're not hiding behind some act. You're you. And people love you for the real, authentic you. Next, I learned this one in my book. Actually, you guys, time out. A lot of these lessons came through my book, so I definitely just want to plug this book for a second. It's How Bold of You. I want you to read it. I'll link it in the description. It's so good. But the next one I learned, zoom out. We tend to have a magnifying glass identifying all the little negative parts in our life. And yeah, if we looked at everything in our life and nitpicked all the negative, we would be freaking miserable. Because if you look for the negative, there's obviously going to be negative. This life isn't perfect. Everything that happens to us isn't perfect. But if you want to look at the negative, and you have seen that mindset in the past where you're just like, oh, poor me, this happened to me. We are choosing to see the negative. But the opposite of negative is positive. So we can also zoom out and see all the positive, see everything we've done, see all the people we've met, seeing the person we've became. We can get to see all that. But no, we want to fine tune and look for all the little negative things. We need to change our mindset. We need to zoom out and see the bigger picture and see how many happy parts there are to our life, how many people we love in our life, and look at those things and stop nitpicking all these little things of, oh, on June 21st of this year, I was super embarrassed. And stop looking at that. If you zoomed out, you would never see that. It would be like a speck in your whole lifeline story. There's so much more happiness. Look for it and stop looking and choosing to find these little negative things. And something I learned is that we like to think that a lot of people tend to think like this American dream. Okay, well, when I have a husband, when I have a successful job, when I don't have to work a 9 to 5, when I have 2 kids by the age of 30, then I'll be happy. Then I'll be happy. Then I'll be happy. That's not the recipe of how to get your color back. It's not an if-then kind of life. You look at it right now. Because in life, it's not the season of everything. All this good sprinkles in. At some points, you may have amazing friendships, but have a horrible relationship. There may be times where you're succeeding in the career you want, but you may not have the best friendships at that time. We think that all of the happiness is supposed to come at once, but it's not. We're never going to live a life where everything's perfect, where everything's happy, butterflies and rainbows. But we can choose to see those events that are, and we can focus on every season of life we're living and be like, hey, I did this, and this is something I always wanted, and I did that in this season. But no, we get too distracted with the one little negative thing happening that we forget that, hey, we've actually followed our dreams. Example, last week I was doing really good on TikTok and a lot of people felt really understood with what I was saying. And I was like, yes, I am so happy. And that's always something I've worked for really hard to obtain. But no, I was sad about relationships in my life that were hurting me. And I chose to look at that negative instead of look at the bigger picture and be like, hello, this is a season in life that you have been waiting for, that you have been working so hard for. But I chose not to see that. So I want us to zoom out and stop waiting to find and get our color back when things happen. It's important that we find gratitude in any situation, and that will give us our color back. It's not, okay, well, if I'm happy, then I'll be grateful. It's look what's in front of me right now and be grateful. Because you can find so much good if you just look in front of you. And sometimes, even if there's little, you might need to take the magnifying glass and you might need to look for the positives on some days. But I promise you, in every day, there's a positive. And you don't need to wait for a certain season to feel that way. You don't need a relationship to feel loved and to find self-love. You don't need a 9-to-5 job to feel successful. You be happy with what's in front of you and realize it's all there. We're just not using our resources and being cognizant of what is in front of us. We can feel loved through ourselves, and we have the power to do that. So take the time. If you're not feeling loved, don't go find it in a significant other. Find it in yourself, because significant others come and go. You will always be with you, and you will always have that self-love if you have it. So hold on to it and work for it, and realize it's not when things happen, things get better. You just have to realize and look at the time that you're in right now. Finally, JOMO. Joy of missing out will bring your color back. Sometimes in life, it's hard that we look at social media, we look at what the people are doing around us, and we have FOMO. We're like, oh, I really miss that. And there have been points in my life where I look back and I'm like, oh, I actually really do miss these memories. And oh, I miss when it was easy. And I want you to realize that sometimes it is hard. But just because it's hard, usually because it's hard, it means it's the right thing to do. Don't fall back into old patterns. Don't fall back into missing something in your life, even though it was not serving you. It was literally bare minimum, but you miss it just enough that you're like, oh, well, should I entertain that again? No, you should not. You should not entertain the guy that had 100 words to say, but was not active on those words. You shouldn't entertain the people who, to you, they were your number one, but to them, you were their last option. It may have been fun for you, but again, imagine what life will be like down the line if you actually wait and entertain the right kind of people and the right kind of relationships and the right kinds of friendships. Don't fall back into old patterns just because you miss it. And I know there are points where we're going to miss it. There are points in my life where I'm like, I miss this so much. But don't give up on yourself, because if you were living in gray, that's exactly where you're going to fall back to, because that's what you were living. Do the opposite. Wait it out. Find happiness in yourself. Find self-love in yourself. Find new relationships. And be serious about who you hang out with, because who you hang out with is a big reflection of you and a lot of the energy you give off. So if you're around a group of super happy people that are all really nice, drama-free, that's the life you're going to live. And that's life that is a really fun one to live. And it probably is the opposite of what you're living right now. So choose to find those people. And in this time we're living right now, I know a lot of my listeners are in their 20s. Don't be afraid to do the opposite. Don't be afraid to mix things up a little and try something new. We are in the perfect age time where it's okay to fall on our face and fail. It's okay to move away and realize, we didn't love it. It wasn't for us. This is our time where there's so much flexibility. And if we want to get that color back, we want to use that flexibility to our advantage. Want to do things we normally wouldn't do. We want to move to places that give us a nervous stomach, but in a good way. We want to act on those things. And just remember, at the end of the day, you have the option to fix things, you have the option to change things, and you have the tools to fine-tune and tweak your life. When you don't like something in your life, you have the opportunity to change it. And I don't want you to just sit there and say, oh, well, if this is it, this is it. No, this is not it. You're letting it be it. Fine-tune it and tweak your life until it is the perfect happy life that you have imagined and dreamed of. We have so many areas to improve, so many areas where we should be doing the opposite, and we're not. So get a lot of experience in your life. Experience 100 different things and ask yourself, what do you expect from you at the end of the day? What do you want to see in yourself? Where do you want to see you go? Who do you want to see yourself surrounded by? And act on those. Because what I want you to remember most of all is that the right people are going to love you, and they are going to love you hard. So you might as well be the person that you actually are and be happy when the right people love you, because it's that real version of you. So that is how you get your color back. In my opinion, those are the steps to being your happy, authentic, most happy self once again. I hope you get your color back, and I hope together we can follow these things and get our color back together. I've started doing some of these things, and right away I've noticed a difference, and this is going to be a happy summer for us. This is going to be one that we live in full color, surrounded by the right people and doing the things that make us most happy, not the people around us. So we stop people pleasing, and the only person we're pleasing right now is ourselves, and that's okay. All right, I love you guys, and I am so thankful for you. Make sure you leave a review, because it helps me so much and gives us so many more opportunities to have guests. And if you have any episode ideas, please DM me at On the Bright Side Pod with 2 Ds. Also, I hope you've been looking at the social media, because it is slaying right now. I have some help, and it is looking absolutely amazing. And for that, I'm so grateful. And go check it out, because there's so much good stuff on there. And final word of thought, if you're missing your happy self, if you're missing your laughing self, I hope you find that. And I hope you get to feel and be the silly person you once were and not feel like you have to confine to a room. I hope you get to laugh with the people that truly love your laugh and are so thankful to have that laugh in their life. I hope you get all your color back, and I hope you live your life authentically and to the fullest. I love you all so, so much, and remember to stay looking on the bright side so you can get your color back, and I promise you it'll serve you really well. Okay, I love you guys. Bye-bye.